Hey guys, pulled out another gun to talk about today, and this one's a bit of an oddity in my collection because it's not a firearm, it's an air pistol. It's the only air gun that I own right now, and it is a Walther LP-53. The LP stands for Luftpistole, which in German means air pistol, and the 53 stands for the year that it was first introduced, 1953. And I'll be honest, it probably sounds pretty silly, but really the only reason I got this gun or became interested in it is because I'm trying to fill out my James Bond gun collection. Right now the only one that I'm missing is the Walther P5, but this one, it wasn't actually in any of the movies, but it's mostly famous for being in several of the promotional posters for some of the James Bond movies. I think the main one that people recognize, it's a black and white shot of Sean Connery, and he's holding it from Russia with Love. And I've heard also that it's in Goldfinger, Thunderball, and You Only Live Twice, some of those promotional shots. The story goes that on the From Russia with Love photo shoot, that somehow they had forgotten, or there was no Walther PPK available to take pictures with, and the photographer or someone there on the set just happened to have one of these in his car trunk, and so he ran out, brought it in, and ever since then it's sort of been immortalized in this picture of Sean Connery, and it's just by association it's become a James Bond gun. So that's really the only reason I even got it. I'm not really an air gun guy, so during the course of this video, if I say something stupid or completely wrong, please correct me. I would love to learn more about air guns, and it's just not something that I'm overly knowledgeable about, but it's a cool gun nonetheless, and I thought, there's no videos on YouTube, there's really not that much information online about these, so I thought maybe a video would be helpful for some other people who are interested in the LP-53 by Walther. I'll start talking about just the looks of it. I'll flip it around, let you take a look at it. It's a kind of a neat looking gun. Apparently it was designed or inspired by the design of the Walther Olympia, and that's actually coincidentally another gun that I'm looking to get. From looking at it, I think it's designed after the 1932 model. That I'm looking for a 1936, but sort of does have that 22 caliber target pistol look to it. This one's a 177 caliber air pistol, so it is different, but yeah, so that's the look of it. Look at the top there. The looks are okay. I mean, it's not the most beautiful gun that I own by far, but it's an air gun, so they tend to look a little bit strange anyway. As far as the size of it goes, when I first pulled it out of the box when I got it, I thought it was surprisingly heavy, and I weighed it, and it's about 36 ounces, so it is definitely a heavy gun. For comparison, I have a Beretta 92, which I've used in a couple other videos, and I pull that out because it's my most common reference gun, I think, that people are familiar with. But I got a Beretta 92 here, and you can kind of get a feel for the size of the thing. It's definitely not a small gun, and it actually even weighs more than the Beretta, and this is the all steel. It's a 1970s Italian production one, so it's a heavy gun, large gun. I don't really know why it needs all that weight, considering it's just an air gun with shooting a little 177 pellet, but that's what it is. So this gives you sort of a look at that. I'll move on to ergonomics of it. The grip, it feels decent. It has this little thumb rest here, so it's kind of got the target shooting thing in mind, but down here it just feels a little wide to me. It kind of flares out, and it doesn't fit my hand perfectly because of that, so it feels a little awkward in the hand. But once you're holding it, it has a good feel to it. It has a good balance. All that weight, just kind of contributes to this sort of a feeling of quality, and heavy gun usually feels good to me, so I kind of like that about it. The sights, speaking of ergonomics, I consider the sights sort of to be a ergonomic feature. The sights are adjustable. The rear sight is adjustable for windage and elevation. There's this little click knob here that has different settings. You can raise and lower it that way. And same with the windage knob over here. You can move it left and right. So the way this gun works is, sorry, I'm just trying to get this in focus. To cock the gun, you break it open here, and then what happens is you push this barrel down, and it's driving a piston down in here, and that's actually what's cocking it and filling the cylinder with air. And it is an air gun, so that's where the air comes from cocking it once. And I'll just do that right here to show you. It does take a fair amount of effort to cock it. And actually, new in box, these things came with this sort of wooden disc. And the wooden disc it had a little hole on one side and a little sort of a screw thing jutting out, and you would stick it in the barrel and you'd use that to get a little bit better grip on the end of the barrel to cock it. It's not that hard in my opinion. If you just put your hand over the front sight, you can pull it down and it breaks open. But and then you see there, that's where you load it. I'll try to focus that. So that's where you put your 177 pellet there. And in fact, off camera, I have some cardboard boxes and a piece of wood set up, so I can kind of show you guys what it's like to shoot. So I'll put that pellet in there. So you got your single pellet loaded up. It's a single shotgun. Close it. And let me get these. So shooting it is actually really nice. The trigger, it feels like a real gun trigger. I mean, this whole thing is constructed of metal. The trigger, it's really light, it's very crisp, has almost no travel. The reason I'm shooting this, by the way, I'm indoors, but I mean, it's an air gun, so big deal, is because you're not supposed to dry fire air guns. At least that's my understanding. I think I've read some conflicting reports that you can and sometimes you can't. But like I said, I'm not really that knowledgeable about air guns, so I just don't want to risk it with this one, so I never dry fire it. So that's why I loaded this pellet up. But let's take a look at it shooting. Like I said, off camera here, there's a box just a foot away from me, so there's no danger here. But just watch the trigger. It's pretty light. Barely even moved it. Barely had to do anything. And it went off. I'll do that again. Break it open. And slip a pellet in. Now watch again, it's really light. I mean, I don't even know if you can tell that it's moving. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. But I think I've read somewhere that the trigger pull is something like 2.5, 3 pounds or something, so it's really light. The trigger is really good, and it's really fun to shoot for that. The only problem I've had with it is just, and it's kind of a significant problem, is just that this one in particular is not very accurate. The groups aren't good. They're kind of all over the place. It's just, and I've messed with the sights. Spent a lot of time messing with those, trying to get it on target and everything, and it just, I can never get it, A, to hit where I'm aiming, to hit at point of aim, and B, to actually get a consistent grouping. And I'm not sure if it's the pellets I'm using. I'm using these Crossman destroyers, but it's not working for me. It's not very accurate. And I've read on other sites, there's a few sites that do have some information about that these things are pretty accurate, and it's a quality company. I mean, this is Walther we're talking about. So they know what to do with target guns, and I don't know if this is just a bad example or what the deal is, but this one's just not super accurate. So I think if it were more accurate, it would be a lot of fun to shoot, because the trigger is so nice. It feels like a real gun. It feels like you're shooting a nice 22 target pistol. It's just the accuracy isn't there. So I really don't enjoy shooting it, because it's like, you know, accuracy is what's fun with guns for the most part, and this one's just not doing it. Another criticism I would have on this is that it's pretty weak. I mean, I'm not out there hunting with it or something, so I don't need a super powerful air gun really, but just from shooting it into cardboard boxes and everything, you can tell that it doesn't have much oomph. I mean, I've shot through, I shoot into cardboard boxes and it barely penetrates the back wall of it sometimes, so it doesn't have a lot of oomph behind it. I don't know if that contributes to the low accuracy or if that's a symptom of it, because maybe the piston's bad or something like that. It's not giving it enough gas, but whatever it is, it's inaccurate and weak. So those are a couple of the shortcomings with this particular one. I don't want to say that all the LP-53s are like that, but this particular one is. So in conclusion, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I'm not really into air guns, so I don't really know what else I can say. It could be fun to shoot. It feels really good. It feels well built and everything, but like I said, it's just not that accurate. My dad does have a Crossman air gun, and his shoots much better than this one, so If that means anything, I don't know. Another thing, there are a few different variations of these. This one has the black grips. I think the original ones came with brown grips, and some of them have a little bit of texture up here or something, but this one is actually pretty close to the one that Sean Connery's holding in those movie posters, so that's kind of why I went for it. As far as pricing goes, they're not very easy to find. I don't know if that's because they never sold well when they were produced back in the 50s and 60s, or if that's because they're just all in collectors' hands and they don't want to give them up, but they do pop up from time to time on Gunbroker. This one I think cost me $300, no box or anything like that, and then of course 2 weeks later I saw one come up and it sold for $400 with the box and everything else in mint condition. So I think $300, $400 is about the right price range for these. There is a Polish knockoff version produced by the Radom factory. I don't know off the top of my head what the model number of that is, but you do see those come up every once in a while. It's pretty much the same gun, but it's not the Walther, and I'm kind of a Walther fanboy, so I wanted to get the real deal. But anyway, that's the LP-53, and I might put a video up of me shooting it, but it's not going to be too much to see, because like I said, it's not very accurate, but you know, you can at least see it in action a little bit more. So LP-53.